Hey, I'm Mike, this is Porty's Chop Shop, and this is my 1978 Datsun 620. Today I'm going to be upgrading the fuel hanger in my 240SX fuel tank with the Racetronix Bulkhead wiring system. I'll show you a little bit of what you need to do this and the reasons why I'm doing it on my particular vehicle. Okay, first I'll go over a few of the things that you need for this. Obviously a fuel hanger. Like I said, mine is out of a 240SX. It's pretty haggard, kind of rusty, and I don't have the fuel sender for it, which is fine because my dash runs different ohms than the 240SX one would anyways. Also, somebody went and soldered all of these connections and burned out all of the plastic all around where the electrical connectors go. So I knew I was going to be cutting this one out and using one of these bulkhead wiring systems anyways. So I just went ahead and cut the pigtail off of it anyways. But hang on to that pigtail. I don't know, someone might use it or might want it for something else. Also, I got the Racetronix kit. This is a company out of Ontario, Canada, I believe. If you go on their website, this kit was pretty affordable and it was exactly what I needed. It's kind of specific. It has a seal that goes around like the top of a fuel tank here. And it just kind of seals off the wiring when you have something like this where it's totally destroyed and you want to replace the wiring. I've seen other people, you can drill a hole through and just epoxy over it or do whatever you're comfortable with. I really like this kit and I was interested to see how it worked. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a try. They send everything with like the shrink wrap that you need, some lubrication for the fuel hose itself, and then a very good amount of wiring on both sides for that. And this is fuel safe wiring, not just any wiring, the same that comes on like the fuel pumps and things like that. So make sure you have the right kind of wiring, and I'll get into the right kind of fuel hose to have something inside of your gas tank because it can go brittle over time and you'll either lose pressure or lose connection. So going on, I have my Walbro 450 here. Probably a bit overkill for an SR20, but a buddy of mine bought it and doesn't need it anymore, so it's mine now. So we're gonna throw that in there, and down the line if I wanna go ethanol, that'll be plenty of flow for that. Last, I got this submersible fuel line hose. You want to make sure that it's fuel safe on both sides. Most fuel line is only safe on the inside. It's not to be exposed on the outside with fuel. It will go brittle, or it could, you know, crack over time. This was about $30 something for this 1 foot. I obviously only need enough to go from the base of this fuel hanger up to the hose up there, which is maybe a few inches. So I'll hang on to that. If I ever need to install another fuel pump, I'll have plenty of that left over. I know $30 is a lot for a little bit of fuel hose, but it doesn't hurt to do it right and do it right the first time. So what I'm gonna do is I'll show you why I can't just go on this flat section right here. That would really be the best option. Because it's already flat, I don't have to deal with it, but I kind of want to get rid of all these soldered connections anyways. My only concern is on the other side here, it has these plastic bits here, and I don't know if that's gonna create a problem sealing around this O-ring that comes with the kit. So when I get to that point, I'll go ahead and see what my options are there. Last, I'm just gonna clean this thing up and then figure out a way to level this out up here and then go from there. Okay, in the back of my Datsun here, you can maybe see a little bit more why I couldn't use the top of that 240SX fuel hanger. In the back, I have this S13 metal gas tank mounted in front of the subframe and on top of the drive shaft and the exhaust. And let me show you. The top of this 1x1 structure is where the bottom of my bed floor is going to be. So the top of that fuel hanger is basically right at the bottom of the bed floor, and I really don't want to have to have a raised section in here. I only want to be able to have an access door right there. But keeping it below that top section and clearing out where those wires are, it'll be perfect to mount right there for that bulkhead wiring system. Okay, so what you just saw me do was just drill out the old electrical connections going through the top of the fuel hanger there. And thankfully, what I was worried about was these little lines between the holes here. I thought that was like a plastic seal that went through, and luckily it's just like a little sticker that goes up. So we should be able to seal these holes up real easy, and then move on and mount our Racetronix bulkhead wiring system right through there. Okay, just clean that up with some aero coil and degreaser. Aero coil just to knock some of the rust loose on the bottom here. Filter will catch most of it, but I don't want to overload a brand new filter with a bunch of old rust and crust in there. So this is the disassembled piece of the Racetronix bulkhead wiring kit. And then this piece right here is what goes through the actual hole that you'll be making. I'm just gonna go ahead and leave one of these holes unplugged and put it in, probably that second one there. That seems to work best. Right there. And that'll give me room to run the wires underneath. They go on the other side of the fuel pump, which is perfect. And then I just, like I said, this is a company out of Canada. So the measurement is 10 millimeters for that, but we'll use whatever drill bit I have. So just gonna go ahead and plug up these holes, probably just spot weld them shut and then enlarge one of them to 10 millimeters to fit this through. Okay, I just did the welding off camera. It's a lot easier that way, and I'm no professional, so I don't want to be giving any advice on that. I did just use a welding spoon to back it and my MIG welder to plug the holes. My biggest concern was just making sure I didn't warp this, adding too much heat, and also making sure I left enough room for this little clip that holds the electrical connector from the back side. It's kind of just like a compression fit, and I wanted to make sure that there was enough room on either side. So I just, like I said, put the welding spoon on there and then did welds on both sides and ground it flush on this side. And then I went ahead and used step drill bits to jump that hole up to 10 millimeters, and there we go. Just put that backer piece on the back there, and then you'll have the wiring come through, and I'll show it when I get it all assembled. Okay, there we go. The little metal clip was just a tiny bit difficult to press in without the top connector wanting to like wobble around and get squirrely, kind of press more in on one side than the other, but I got it figured out. A squeeze clamp probably would have been the best thing. I tapped it in with like a socket and a hammer, which wasn't great, but it worked. So you can see it has a little bit of wiggle, so it's still easy to get that connector done, and the O-ring is seated nice. Has this metal clip on the back to hold the bottom electrical connector on. And then, like I said in the beginning, you get plenty of wiring on both sides. This is more than enough to reach a fuel pump and a fuel level sender. So overall, I'm really satisfied with this. Okay, that's it for installing the Racetronix bulkhead wiring system. I was super impressed with the quality, and it was exactly what I needed for my setup. It is pretty specific. If you have like a damaged fuel hanger or anything like that, I think it's perfect for that. It has enough inputs for the fuel pump and the fuel sending unit, so to see your gas level. If you want to see more videos on my 240SX swap Datsun 620, keep an eye on this channel, and thanks for watching.